Okay, just imagine this for a second. You've got two soldiers dropped behind enemy lines into their own occupied country. And their mission, it's to find and kill one of the most powerful, most feared men in the entire Nazi regime. We're talking about a man who was literally an architect of the Holocaust. And that man's name was Reinhard Heydrich. I mean, think about it. When Adolf Hitler himself, Hitler, gives you the nickname the man with the iron heart, you know you're dealing with a level of cruelty that is just, it's almost beyond imagination. So let's dive into this. Who exactly was Reinhard Heydrich? And how on earth did he earn that infamous title, the Butcher of Prague? And here's what's so fascinating about him. The contrast is just incredible. Publicly, Heydrich was the perfect Aryan. I mean, tall, blonde, athletic. He looked like he stepped right off a Nazi propaganda poster. But behind closed doors, he was a deeply insecure man. He had this weirdly high-pitched voice, and people relentlessly mocked him with this nickname Blonde Moses because of rumors about Jewish ancestry, a label he absolutely hated. You know, his rise to power was just unbelievably fast. He gets kicked out of the German Navy in total disgrace, and what does he do? He immediately joins the Nazi Party. And in just a few short years, he goes from being a disgraced officer to orchestrating Kristallnacht, planning the Holocaust, and finally becoming the absolute ruler of the occupied Czech lands. I mean, the sheer scale of his evil was immense. He wasn't just some thug. He was the chief of the Reich Security Main Office. He was the guy behind the Night of Broken Glass. He was a key planner of the final solution. And when he got to Prague, his reign of terror earned him that chilling title, the Butcher. It was this unbelievable reign of terror that sparked a plan way off in the shadows, a mission so bold, so audacious, it seemed almost impossible. It was called Operation Anthropoid. So what was it exactly? Well, Operation Anthropoid was a top-secret joint op. You had the Czechoslovakian government in exile, working out of London, teaming up with the British Special Operations Executive. And the goal? It was simple, but so dangerous. Assassinate Reinhard Heydrich right on his own turf. So who do you pick for a job like this? You pick men like Jan Kubiš and Jozef Gabčík. Now, these guys weren't just soldiers. They were really close friends who had trained together in Britain. They had seen their country get swallowed by the Nazis, and they were absolutely determined to strike back, no matter what it cost them. But get this, the mission almost failed before it even started. There was heavy snow, which caused a huge navigation error, and they ended up getting dropped miles off course. Gabčík actually injured his foot on the landing. So there they were, lost, freezing, one man wounded, and they had to break a cardinal rule. They made contact with the local resistance, a move of pure desperation that would change everything. Okay, so with the help of this incredibly brave underground network, Kubiš and Gabčík managed to spend months in hiding. Can you imagine the constant fear of being discovered? They watched Heydrich's daily routine, and they noticed his unbelievable arrogance. He often drove around in an open-top car with barely any security. They debated every detail, knowing that just one mistake meant death, not just for them, but for every single person who had helped them. All right, let's walk through the attack itself. It's May 27th, 1942. Heydrich's car, open top, slows down for a hairpin turn. Gabčík steps right out into the street. He raises his Sten gun, takes aim, and in that one critical moment, nothing. The gun jams. It's a total disaster. Heydrich actually stands up to shoot back, but that gives Kubiš his opening. He hurls his grenade, it explodes against the car, and in all the smoke and chaos, both assassins just disappear. And that's the question that just hangs over this whole story, isn't it? Why did the gun jam? Was it a known flaw with the Sten gun? Maybe some grass they used for camouflage got caught in the mechanism? Or was it just the worst kind of bad luck at the worst possible moment? We're never going to know for sure. But here's the thing. Even with that botched ambush, the mission worked. The shrapnel from the explosion had caused a fatal infection. 8 days later, Reinhard Heydrich, the Butcher of Prague, was dead. And for a moment, just a brief moment, it felt like a huge victory for the Allies. But that victory, it came at a cost that is almost impossible to comprehend. The Nazi response wasn't just revenge, it was apocalyptic. 503. Just remember that number. That was the total population, men, women, and children of a small mining village called Lidice. The Nazis had zero evidence connecting them to the assassination, none. But they decided this village would pay for Heydrich's death. And the breakdown of what they did? It's just cold, bureaucratic evil. Every single one of the 173 men were shot on the spot. The women were shipped to concentration camps. And the children, almost all of the children, were gassed at an extermination camp. Out of 503 people, only 160 survived the war. And the Nazis didn't stop with the people. They actually filmed themselves as they dynamited every single building, leveled the church, and even dug up the graves in the cemetery. Their goal was to completely erase the very memory of Lidice from the face of the earth.
While all of this horror was unfolding, the assassins were still in hiding, and it all led to one of the most dramatic last stands of the entire war.
So how did the Nazis finally find them? It came down to a traitor. A man named Karl Czerda, one of their own comrades, sold out his friends. He sold out the entire resistance network for money and a new identity. He led the Gestapo right to their hiding place. And the numbers here, they really say it all. You had the assassins and 5 other paratroopers hiding in the crypt of a church. And outside, over 700 SS and Gestapo troops surrounding them. The odds weren't just bad, they were impossible. For hours, 7 men held off 700. After this ferocious firefight, trapped and completely out of options, they used their last bullets on themselves. They chose death over being captured. Both Gabčík and Kubiš died right there, in that crypt. And revenge just kept going. Hundreds of resistance members were executed. Another village, Ležáky, was also completely wiped out. The traitor, Czerda, he was caught and executed after the war. And Heydrich's widow, well, she spent the rest of her life denying his crimes and collecting a state pension from the German government. Which brings us to the final, really haunting question. Operation Anthropoid succeeded. They killed a monster, a key architect of the Holocaust. There's no doubt about that. But in doing so, they unleashed a wave of terror that cost thousands of innocent lives. So when you weigh that tactical victory against the immense human cost, was it worth it? Was it truly a success?